Hi, my name is Jessica James, and in this podcast, I'm going to explore the American sociocultural influence on eating disorders. This topic matters to me because when I was in 8th grade, I began to restrict, swallow diet pills and laxatives, and purge in hopes of someday achieving the perfect body. The models in the magazines made me cringe in disgust at what I saw in the mirror. It took me a while to learn that they were airbrushed and photoshopped. It took me even longer to realize my body is not meant to fit a size 00, and that I was worth more than just a number on a scale. Choosing to recover is the best choice I have ever made. It took immense strength and willpower. Each day is a battle between me and my eating disorder, and it's been a hell of a war. Some days I'm the victor, and some days I'm not. I've relapsed multiple times, and that's okay, because I've come to understand that it's not about the number of times I've relapsed, but rather it's about getting back up and continuing to fight and learn. Recovering from an eating disorder has made me question society's unrealistic and unattainable representation of the idealistic male and female body that flood and overwhelm magazines, social media, and advertisements. So first things first, why should we care about these idealistic representations? First and foremost, these images have an immense and undeniably negative effect on how people view their bodies, which can contribute to eating disorders. However, this statement is meaningless if we do not understand eating disorders as diseases. Eating disorders involve an extreme obsession and preoccupation with food and weight issues that interfere with daily living. Untreated, eating disorders can consume and destroy a person's life and seriously deplete a person's physical, emotional, and mental health. Eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. Eating disorders are real, debilitating mental illnesses that do not discriminate against age, gender, or race. They affect girls as young as 6 and 7, and boys as young as 8 and 9. In the United States, 20 million women and 10 million men suffer from a clinically significant eating disorder at some time in their life. Having established a clear understanding of the severity of eating disorders, we can begin to care about how American society's unrealistic and unattainable beauty standards influence them.
In your opinion, is the way the media portrays the female body type idealistic? Why or why not?
Well, things are changing in the media. I've been at this for 37 years. For example, 17 no longer photoshops or digitally alters its images. And there is even legislation pending in Great Britain, for example, that anything that's digitally altered, there'd be a DA in the right corner, like a little marker. So I do see the media evolving in terms of being appropriate, but there still is completely inappropriate, unrealistic photoshopping and digital altering of women's bodies.
Okay. What about the male body? Do you see the same pattern?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I know that male models often, their torsos are, they use eyeshadow to show their different, their abs and stuff. So, yeah, it's unrealistic for guys, too.
Do you believe this portrayal and representation is a problem? Why or why not?
What number are we on?
3.
Yeah, it's a problem because, for example, I find that a lot of the women I work with have completely unrealistic expectations regarding their stomach, and also guys. I mean, genetically, it's not possible to achieve a six-pack for some men. So to try to achieve that, whether you're male or female, and not be able to just because the good Lord didn't give it to you, is a problem.
Okay. Do you think society considers thinness and muscularity as the gateway to happiness, success, and beauty? Why or why not?
Yes, they do. When I did a workshop at Asbury Park High School, and the black girls there said, yeah, all those, Vogue glamour, all those white chicks with, the fancy cars and, the swimming pools, that's not where we are. So, yeah, when you consider Vogue, Vanity Fair, any magazines where thin, muscular men and women are portrayed, they're usually in very high profile consumer situations associated with money success. Yeah, a lot of guys don't like to, a lot of guys still consider it a girl's disease. And I mean, I've had young men straight up say to me, I can't tell anybody that I'm anorexic. That's weird. They're going to think I'm gay, you know?
Why do you think they think that way?
It's a girl's illness. 10 times more girls have it. So it's like a teenage girl's disease. But I've had like, last year I had a 45-year-old physician, male, with anorexia. He couldn't tell anybody.
Why are men even less likely to come forward about their eating disorders than women?
Yes.
Does societal pressure play a part?
Yeah, peer pressure, societal pressure. It's all, but it's a girl's disease. It's a teenage girl. How I have a 71-year-old Vietnam veteran who's bulimic. He can't tell anybody. He can't. He's afraid to tell anyone because they'll think he's making it up or crazy.
Why are men so terrified to come forward about having an eating disorder? Why is it weird for a man to have anorexia? Because society expects men to live up to its standards of masculinity, which includes being unfailingly stable, strong, insensitive, and unaffected by emotions. For men, coming out about an eating disorder and attempting to get support for it entails discrimination because their illness disallows them from being masculine. If the pressure to meet society's expectations in regards to physical appearance impacts women as well as men, how can we expect men to remain unfazed by these images? We cannot. Nor can we tell them that they are immune to eating disorders because having a mental illness conflicts with the set of predetermined standards for them they are supposed to conform to. There are just as many magazine covers of Photoshop male models as there are of Photoshop female models. The body types of Calvin Klein Victoria's Secret models are simply not attainable for all body types. So why do they continue to flood a majority of magazines when there is a whole spectrum of body types that are left unaccounted for? Society puts so much pressure on girls to be thin and on guys to be fit. Not only does this represent an ideal for beauty, but it manipulates the minds of girls and guys alike into thinking that the model's retouched body is attainable. Because in addition to these images, the magazines include countless ways to attain it through diets, pills, and workouts. So let's get this straight. The models in the magazine don't even look like the models in the magazine. However, men and women are supposed to use diets, pills, and workouts to try to look like someone that isn't real without hurting themselves physically and mentally in the process? Apparently so. However, the ugliness doesn't end there. In addition to posting tips on how to stick to a diet and how to get six-pack abs or how to lose 10 pounds fast, the magazines post before and after pictures of female celebrities who used to be beautiful but are now a bag of bones and question how they got this way. Society dares to ask what pressures women to harm themselves and become sickly thin when society itself is to blame. Society acts like it is not one of the major factors in body image and eating issues and gets away with it, because at the same time, it hides its distorted face under a mask of self-love and self-acceptance. Society wants people to love themselves, but only according to its standards. The path to loving oneself no longer belongs to the individual person who walks it. Rather, it is paved by society, through an obsession with appearance and a glamorization of homogeneous, airbrushed models, diets, drugs, and exercise. This is a major problem because countless men and women of all ages diet, exercise, and take pills to try to look like someone that is not real without hurting themselves in the process. Some girls and boys in grammar school are restricting from food and starving their bodies in the hopes of achieving the perfect body and being accepted by their peers. Often restricting, dieting, and exercising and pill popping is taken to the extreme, and eating disordered behavior ensues. It is important to note that sociocultural factors such as these images do not alone cause eating disorders. Rather, eating disorders are caused by a combination of biological, psychological, environmental, and sociocultural factors. But because sociocultural factors are developed and controlled by society's culture, they can be reduced through education. Therefore, education on eating disorders as an implication of the unattainable and unrealistic representation of the idealistic male and female body in magazines, social media, and advertisements is relevant. Hopefully, as a society, we can eventually do away with photoshopping and airbrushing, include models of all heights and shapes, remove the idea of perfection and the emphasis on thinness and muscularity as the gateway to success, ultimately eliminating the sociocultural factors for eating disorders altogether. Thank you for listening.
Just try